Hello, YouTubers. It's Space Ferrari 248, of course, also known as Alex Ferranti, and as you can see, I have a new Metallica shirt, hardwired to self-destruct, of course. I got it at Hot Topic at the mall on Black Friday. I didn't know what shirts to buy because it looks like I have had every one of them in the Rock Hall of Fame section, so I thought I would get Metallica's Hardwired to Self-Destruct, since that's one of the only albums from them I don't have in the shirt of theirs, at least. First, here with another CD collection update, or CD pickup rather. First, we got Scorpions' Animal Magnetism. Oh yeah, strange story. I bought the CD on eBay, and for some reason it said delivered, but strangely it didn't come until I had to message the seller that there was a problem, and then when I messaged the seller, it of course was sent. It was sent to me. It's very strange how it said that it was delivered despite it not being there. But anyways, at least it's there. Finally there, I could rock out to this masterpiece. Oh, sorry about that. Next, my first time getting a CD or album from these guys. It's not in their face paint makeup days, though. But Lick It Up by Kiss. Unlike I Was Made for Loving You, this is a very upbeat and energetic album. Most people know it for the song Lick It Up, of course, the song itself, but just check out the rest of the album. You'll definitely like it if you are into that hard rock stuff, or anything that's energetic and upbeat. Next, we got David Lee Roth, Eat 'Em and Smile. Of course, the famous Yankee Rose is the first track on this album. Everyone knows because of, Vice City from Grand Theft Auto. I never even played Grand Theft Auto, and I discovered it because that song, because of that. Thanks to Hair Metal Brony 1016, by the way. David Lee Roth left Van Halen after 1984 was released, and then Sammy Hagar, as mentioned in some CD pickup videos of mine, filled in for David Lee Roth for at least a decade for the albums 5150 and OU812 and whatever that. I forget what the album was called in 1991. David Lee Roth, I think came back in 2000s, 2010s. Don't remember the exact date. Next, we got Europe's Out of This World. And yep, I collected an album that's far beyond from the final countdown, of course. I think my favorite track would have to be, or at least the track that made me discover this album, was Open Your Heart, the supposed ballad. Released in 1988. Next, we got Lita Ford's Lita. This is another upbeat and energetic album, and it's extremely complex. Everyone knows Lita Ford, of course, for the song Kiss Me Deadly, and I believe that she was a member of Vixen. I don't completely remember. I don't know too much about Vixen other than their debut album from 1988, and unfortunately the lead guitarist died of cancer in 2013 in October. Cancer really blows. Really blows. Next, we got an extremely overlooked album, and band no less, Dangerous Toys. Teasin' Pleasin' was the first track I've ever heard of from Dangerous Toys, thanks to Ranner and Shades. These guys were signed to Columbia Records, and what do you know? A glam metal artist has a death shirt on. I almost never see glam metal artists wear death metal band shirts. That's not to say that it's oxymoronic, because it's really not, by the way. Nothing. Next, finally got another CD from these guys, and it's probably their best album. Well, aside from Once Upon the Cross. As you saw in my Christmas music rant video, I had the CD, and it's Deicide's debut album from 1990, signed to Roadrunner Records. I think my favorite songs from this album is Oblivious to Evil, Dead by Dawn, Carnage in the Temple of the Damned, Lunatic of God's Creation. Hold on a second. And pretty damn fucking awesome satanic metal, even though I'm not a Satanist, by the way, so don't think just because I like satanic death metal automatically means I'm a Satanist, so do not. Oh, and I hope you don't mind my ponytail I'm wearing. Next, we got, I think was ranked *1 on the Billboard for all-time best albums or something. Well, it's not the all-time best albums of 1991, but Slave to the Grind by Skid Row, which takes a much more rough traditional metal approach to the band, and of course Slave to the Grind, The Threat, Beggar's Law, Lovin' on a Chain Gang. Just Skid Row isn't Skid Row without Sebastian Beck. I heard he's up for a reunion tour. At least it'll be much more realistic than the so-called reunion tour with Dokken. Sebastian Beck is much more over the shit of whatever happened with Skid Row than Don Dokken is. But anyways, that's beside the point. You probably already heard the Slave to the Grind song playing in my Bad Drivers video. Next. Oh, great. Somebody's printing shit. Next, we got a Jackal. That got popular so quick, and then slumped. Signed to Geffen Records, and which was where Roxy Blue was also signed to. Geffen Records is a very popular record company. I never understood how Jackal and Roxy Blue got the recognition that they deserved. Well, Jackal got the recognition for a short time in 1992 until, of course, that's like the last year glam metal was ever really popular. A lot of this is like a southern version of AC/DC. But, of course, the 11th track kind of makes me cringe, but it's possibly a joke song, so I'll let it slide. Next, we got another overlooked glam metal album. Well, it's kind of grungy glam metal, if I were to describe what the sound of this band sounds like. Sorry, I'm tripping over my own words again. What I just said didn't really make any sense, but Ugly Kid Joe, America's Least Wanted, Middle Finger, Statue of Liberty with a middle finger. Thanks once again to Ranner and Shades for introducing me to this band and of course it's the first track I've heard from these guys, Neighbor. This seems like Ugly Kid Joe was trying to make a more grunge approach to glam metal to make it Sounds slightly commercial. They still wanted to keep the glam alive, but also adapt some grunge sound to it. Next, we got some extremely heavy and groovy 90s metal. Machine Head. Burn My Eyes. That's a pretty sick cover, by the way, and I mean that in a good way. Once again, signed to Roadrunner Records, and they're just straight up heavy as hell. Typical 90s metal. Groovy and heavy. Just like Pantera, which is the most well-known 90s metal band, even though they formed in 1981. Robert Flynn is a legend for making that song about the idiot that shit talked about Dimebag Darrell. Well, that song was in the album The Blackened, but that's beside the point. Next, we got a thrash power metal, or rather speed metal, album and band that's unfortunately broken up now. 3 Inches of Blood, signed to Roadrunner Records once again, and my favorite tracks on this album would have to be Deadly Sinners in Wilkatron. I don't know how to pronounce that, by the way, so don't shit talk. Next, if Rust in Peace by Megadeth was a metalcore album, this album would be the outcome, and that would be Trivium's Ascendancy. Once again, another band or album signed to Roadrunner Records, and these guys tend to get lumped into metalcore, but they they were experimenting with a lot of sounds ranging from metalcore, a bit of thrash, speed metal, and progressive metal. I think they're rather in the modern day traditional metal or progressive metal. But this album, I can see why people can tend to lump them into metalcore. Next, we got another power metal album from 2006. Hammerfall's Threshold. I think that's how you pronounce it. Signed to Nuclear Blast Records. And I think the first track, The Fire Burns Forever, Rebel Inside, Dark Wings, Dark Words. Well, it's power metal. What do you expect? What's there not to like about this album? I can't think of any filler songs that are on there at all. Oh hey, it even comes with no, it's showing all these power metal albums. Featured releases coming soon. Of course, I have the Edguy album in the featured releases area. Wait a minute. All Shall Perish isn't power metal. Wait a minute. In the coming soon section, it doesn't show almost no power metal. It shows Blind Guardian, at least. All those are practically released by now, since this album was released 10 years ago in 2006. And if Slayer, of course, has a son, it's the outcome of this band, Evil Infected Nations. And it comes with a DVD too. What do you know? Anybody that says thrash is dead is extremely absurd and moronic and has absolutely lazy research enough to not know about Evil, Municipal Waste, Havoc, Warbringer, and several more. I could go on for a while. But let's move on to the last two. One of the best albums ever in 2016, and probably of all time even. Sabaton's The Last Stand. There's just so much going on with this album. I fucking love it to death. But let's just say I like what they did with the Sparta song, saying tonight we dine in hell. It's of course Sparta is related to the Spartans against the Persian Empire from 400 something BC, and of course they referenced the movie 300 by saying tonight we dine in hell. Like, I really like that, how they did that, and my favorites from this album would have to be Sparta, Last Dying Breath, let's see, Hill 3240, 3234, my bad, Shiroyama, and Winged Hussars. This kind of has a lot of these songs have a speed metal edge to it, but that's typical Sabaton. And I also absolutely love how they tell the stories of these of the histories and the histories of battles from the past and wars and all that shit. They teach me more than history class from high school, that's for sure. And middle school sometimes, mind you. And last but not least, like none of you saw this coming, Metallica's Hardwired to Self-Destruct. And the 3-disc case, mind you, which makes it even more awesome. Now, my favorite tracks on this album is, of course, my number one favorite on this album would be Moth into Flame, but the other amazing ones are Confusion, Here Comes Revenge, Am I Savage, Spit Out the Bone, and of course the song itself, Hardwired to Self-Destruct, Atlas Rise, and Now That We're Dead is also a kick-ass one. Same with Halo on Fire. But the weak track might have to be Man Unkind. And, of course, they're signed to Blackened Records. This sounds exactly similar to their old school stuff. Similar to Kill 'Em All, not to mention, because at least Lars finally got rid of the trash can drums completely, because in Death Magnetic you could still notice a little bit of the trash can drums in Death Magnetic, as it unfortunately wasn't completely gotten rid of. But the snares and drums themselves sound more similar to the Master of Puppets drums, and of course if you take the guitar riffs similarities from And Justice for All and the speed from Kill 'Em All, Hardwired to Self-Destruct is pretty much the outcome. So, yeah, I think Hardwired to Self-Destruct pretty much has outdone Death Magnetic even. And Death Magnetic and Hardwired to Self-Destruct are better than the Black Album. Here's the entire pile of CDs. Alright, that's everything I've got today. People, take care and have a nice day. Space out, everyone.